All right. So the webinar's topic is what's new in Revit 2021. Revit's been out for a while now, and it's been widely received. I think most people are at home when it came out and could then download it and play with it. So we haven't heard any lots of bad word on it, and the features in it is very great. There's lots of good feedback of all the features. So what I'm planning to do is I'm going to just divide the session into a couple of four main parts. There's new features within the platform, architecture, MEP, and then structure. So and I'm going to just highlight a couple of these new features. There are many more. And then we'll open for some of the questions if needed. All right. Okay. So just to get into it, within the platform, meaning it's kind of new features that can be used by all industries. As you all know, Revit has or can cater for a lot of industries, structures, architecture, and the MEP guys. All right, so first up, when you open the software, you will get greeted with a welcome screen these days, and or with 2021. And within that welcome screen, it allows you to pick from a list your role, as well as which menus or what you're going to be using Revit for, be it architecture, structures, and so forth. There is a little screenshot below in the little image of your options. Now, in saying that, you can also reset this, or now what it does, it basically cleans up your interface, your user interface, to only show the appropriate tools for you, not then you being overwhelmed with different tools that you're not aware of. Now, you can reset it in your Revit options. So it allows you to just go to the options screen and go and reset that. So it is a welcome addition, cleaning up your workspace. Right, then awesome new feature is your PDFs that you can now import as well as link. And the significance of that is, together with the linking of the image, is that if something changes, say the PDF changes, it will then, because it's linked, it will then be able to update your model now, or within your model. The PDFs are basically linked within the ribbon insert, as I showed in the picture there. And you can see there's a link PDF as well as import PDF, the red buttons. Images also are now linkable, so the same applies there. All right, so a lot of people use these PDFs to trace over their 3D model, so it can speed up in your workflow using these functions. All right, then one of the new features is that you can link your model to the cloud. That's been a feature that's been around, but to the Europe data center. Now, the European data center allows just you now two options instead of the American one. It can be done for speed purposes. So maybe the European one is you've got a faster connection that obviously will speed up your work as well. And also it's got different regulations with regards to the data security and that, so which might be a little bit better or than the US one. Right, but the main thing, you now have more options to upload your data to, if you're going to use cloud models or the BIM 360 idea. The image that I have done there is just to activate your BIM 360 account. It'll then, if you obviously subscribe to the BIM 60 system, you can then just select which data center you would like to use. All right. Okay, then a new feature within the schedules is the row striping. It's just a button that you press and it allows you to select colors, and each alternative row gets a different color or sequence, and it just allows you to read large data very quickly. And that also goes through to the sheet. It allows you just to be more productive in reading your information. All right, and then as with each version with regards to Revit, they update and upgrade the Dynamo integration. In earlier versions, you had to kind of install an Dynamo add-on. Now, obviously, it's included as per the last couple of releases. Now, what Dynamo is, it's a little picture there. It's basically a tool that you can use to automate certain things, be it your modeling or just simple things like selecting all the trees and changing them to a bush, or selecting all the chairs and changing them to a table, or that sort of thing. So it's kind of a process that you can design that can be recorded so that you can use it in future projects. So you do it once and you apply it many times. Now, a lot of people are out there have started creating their own pieces of software that is then used for within Dynamo. They call them nodes, and they create their own package and they upload it to this platform. And what you can then do as a user, you can use those nodes in your design or in your script. But then after a while, maybe these third-party guys have updated their scripts without letting you as a user know, and then your script becomes out of sync. Now, what they've done now with the Dynamo 2.5, they have actually allowed the user the ability to see which packages he has used and if they are updated or out of date, or if they're not visible. Now, on the right of that little screenshot is a workspace reference area, and you can see the different packages that were used in the script, and the clockwork one perhaps isn't available. So I now know that I need to go and download the clockwork script from a third-party developer. There is obviously, these are all free, so there's no kind of cost involved. So I'll just go and download that, and then my script will work. All right, so it just helps with your scripts being updated and in working order. The reason why I spend so much time now with Dynamo is that with Dynamo you can actually do a lot within your Revit projects, be it as I mentioned, automation or even design. So if you are looking at learning a new skill, Dynamo should be on the top of the list with regards to Revit. All right. So going over to architecture, the new information with regards to architecture. We have they've added slanted walls. Now, slanted walls could have been done in the past by creating a mass model and then attaching your walls to this mass model. Now, with the slanted walls, it's addition to Revit 2021, it's much easier. You can just select a wall. You set a setting within its properties saying that it's instead of vertical, it's slanted. As you can see in that little picture on the left, in your properties dialog box, they've just set it to slanted. And once you've set it to slanted wall, you can then set an angle. which allows and it can be a positive or negative angle depending on if it slants outwards or inwards. Right, now the hosted elements like the windows or doors would also be upright normally, but you can select them and also make them slanted. As soon as you switch it to slanted, it'll then just apply to the and slant over to the same angle that the wall has. So we'll probably see a lot of slanted walls now in future. Good luck to the builders, I guess. All right. Okay, so the next one is generative design. Now, this is a new. It used to be a called different, and they've now integrated it into Revit as a tool. And what it does, it uses Dynamo in the background, but it allows you to add rules to a certain environment, and based on those rules, it will then create your design. Now, in this sort of example, it's just a room that they've added one or a couple of desks, and the rules would pertain to the number of desks, the views to the outside, the distance to the exits, and also there's a couple of rules at the bottom there, and it considers all of those and then places the number of desks in a certain position to have a sweet spot catering for all of those rules. And then you can it gives you a number of solutions, and you as a user can then pick which one you would prefer. That in this scenario, the desks in that room. Right. You can also set these rules up. Obviously, the idea is within the software they have one or two predefined examples. One of them is the desks example, but the idea is for you to, on your own, go and set these up with regards to your designs. And as I said, this is now the first version that's integrated with Revit, and it'll get built up, and people will start using it. And I think it's because it's based on Dynamo, and it will get a lot of traction with regards to AI and the relationship with AI and design. Right, that's another discussion, I guess. All right, so I'll just go over to the next slide. All right, so we all know that Revit can show views in a certain mode. It could be either just a normal mode, or it can show materials. And now they have also the realistic mode. They've increased the realism of it. You'll see they've included LED lighting. There's reflections on the windows on the left there. And if you look at the little list at the bottom of that little image, there's no ray tracing. So they've taken that away. And I believe that could be a start of something else, maybe a real-time rendering. So they will keep on with the RTX graphics cards that's becoming available. They'll keep on, I think, improving the realistic mode as we see here, and the time it takes to produce renderings would reduce as the versions and as Revit progress. All right, so it's good that we get this sort of rendering advantage and progression. Right. All right. The next new feature that I want to look at is the site designer, and the model review has actually been removed. So it's basically seen as a negative part, but I turn it around and I see it as a positive thing. Now, the site designer was an add-on all the all along, and it was used extensively with regards to creating platforms and roads on a site. But they've taken it away, and I think it's a start of personally of enhancing it. Maybe they ran out of time to include it in this version, but I think they're going to enhance it and perhaps build in those tools within the site, the native site tool within Revit. So I hope that that I'm right, and that they increase and develop the site tools using these technologies. And as I said there on the end of the text there, or it could just be dropped. Never know. All right. Okay. So the next one. So that is the highlights on the architectural side. The highlights on the MEP side is single phase panel boards. Now we have had the ability to create or edit the 3-phase one to just focus on one phase of that and use it in our environment. So it could have been done in the past, but they've just allowed us a little bit of ease of use to provide the single phase panel boards or switchboards. As you can see there in the little picture, there's just one phase A at the bottom there, and it allows you to schedule that and create panel schedules nice and easily. All right. Okay, so that is a good and a nice time saver. They've also included electrical circuit naming. In the past, you could only have your circuits that you create in a building, and it can just follow. It'll just follow from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just numerical naming. Now you can add a naming schema to your circuits, and like there they've got it ABC or whatever, and then the name of the room or whatever lighting workshop. All right. So there is a way to have different circuit namings, which possibly could make more sense if you have your circuit equal to the name of the room and that sort of thing. All right. Okay, so then also a lot of electrical design has, they've also increased a couple of small parts, basically with regards to the different things like circuits. You can set your DB boards to have a maximum number of circuits. There's additional parameters added for circuits to name them better, as I said, but there's other ones as well. Also, the panel schedules have now got their own entry in the project browser. In the past, there weren't any reference to them, so the panel schedules would have then been added a different way to perhaps a sheet or so. All right. Okay, then looking at still MEP and the work sharing thereof. Work sharing, mainly you've got a central file, and you've got each person has got their own copy of the central file on their local machine, and everybody work on the same central file. Now, they've just improved that a little bit, and there's an example. In the past, if you had edited one of the elements, it would have picked up like the whole run of that duct in that case. But now the bottom picture there, the element that you've selected in the top picture, that element only you would then be able to edit and use. So the performance is just a little bit better with regards to the work sharing environment within MEP. Right. Then there's also an enhancement with regards to the ducting and P&ID, and then also linking to docs. Right. So it's we all know well, P&ID, what that is. It's a schematic of the process involved, and that typically gets created in another application called Plant 3D. And now Revit can link with those other applications like Plant 3D via BIM 360 docs, and it just allows this process to become much easier and better, where you can specifically link to a specific project much easier within the cloud. Right, so that is then the MEP side. If I look at the structure part, we have a lot of improvements within Infraworks. Now, Infraworks is also an Autodesk product, and the linking with Infraworks. Now, Infraworks typically is a civil designing and visualization application, and you can design and place bridges within the Infraworks product. Now, to cater for that linking with the Infraworks product, Revit has included additional categories that's typically hard-coded, and they've now added these categories for you to then use natively within Revit, but it's also for the time that you want to link with these other applications like Infraworks, and it caters for that, so that you can import the bridges from Infraworks, create your designs in Revit, and then detail it better within the Revit software. All right, so they're just setting the scene to allow the interaction with other products better. All right, there's also in the past the precast application was an add-on. So if you're doing a lot of concrete and precast concrete and that sort of thing, you had to kind of download an app, install that on your PC onto, say, Revit, older version of Revit, and then you could use that as a structural engineer. They've now just integrated that menu and application so that you can then now use it within the structural environment. You can see there the little image. There's a precast a ribbon that allows you to use those tools. All right, so more for structural engineers that allow, that precast systems to be used. All right, again, they've been enhancing rebar for a couple of versions, and it's very substantial now. The structural engineers, they use this in industry, and it's awesome. There was normally a couple of these elements have been you had to go through a couple of settings to show them in 3D, but now it's easier to view these rebar shapes, and they've also enhanced some of the hook adjustments. So there's a couple of enhancements that they've added. In the past, you could have only added couplers if you had straight joints with rebar, but now if you had curved rebar elements, you can add couplers to connect the ends of two rebars together. All right, so lots of enhancements there. Also, with regards to the steel connections, they've enhanced and added another little add-on. We know that steel connections has been around in Revit for a while. They typically came from advanced steel, and that technology has been built in. But another enhancement now is Dynamo. Now with Dynamo, they've also developed a couple of nodes that link in with these. Now nodes is little programs that you can use, as I described, to access parts of these connections. And that in the past, again, had been an add-on, and they've just incorporated that. And so when you install the software, Revit 2021, it just gets installed by default, allowing you access to these, or allowing a structural engineer and even an architect access to these connections to use in your scripts, your Dynamo scripts. All right, it's a little bit technical, but I guess the focus here is Dynamo, and it it's going to get into a lot of the areas within Revit, meaning that it is very important for any Revit user to kind of get into, because I believe that's the future of design and automation, saving you basically time. All right, okay, carrying on. They've also added your enhancements with regards to the sheet visualization. In the past, those sheets, the picture with the red rebar could only have been shown with singular lines, and now it's nice and solid. So they've been, and it looks much better. There's other enhancements as well with regards to contour cutting, and contour cutting is basically if you've got a member, you can cut its end with a certain in a certain way. All right. Okay. So then also, if I look at there's another add-on that they've added. In the past, you had to load, if you want to do structural analysis, you had to, well, static structural analysis, you had to import and load a third-party app, and that third-party app allows you to create these visualizations based on the certain loads and the analysis that you do, be it deformation or moments or whatever forces that you need to visualize. Now, that little app had always been there, but it's just now been incorporated with the install. So if you install, you don't have to do anything else. It just allows that. Together with that, you'll also see on the right of that little picture, there's a robot add-on now, or link. So that allows the structural engineer to link their product or their design to robot, the robot structural analysis, and they can do further analysis there. A great enhancement within Robot is that they have now in 2021 added code checking for the South African SANS standards. So there's a great enhancement and a workflow for the structural engineers to do their analysis in Robot as well. All right. Okay, so that's basically the structural side, and also all the platforms. Now, when I'm busy, just want to talk about is right. So every year, Autodesk actually releases a new version of Revit, and it is very nice, but it also what if we can become involved in this little process of which tools are going to get added to the next release. So what I've just want to talk about is the Rivet Roadmap. That is freely available, and I've in the past written a little blog on that, and also how you as a user could get involved with this process of what versions and what features could get added in future releases. So you're welcome to follow that link and and become more involved in features. If there's also a feature that you would within that blog, I'll also talk about it. But if there's a feature that you would like to be added, you can actually create a Revit idea on the forums. Now, the forum is a place where everybody that's like-minded with Revit and that get together, and they answer questions, they ask questions, and that sort of thing. But one of the forums is actually a Revit ideas forum, and on that ideas forum is a lot of ideas that users have, and you can actually, as a user, go and vote for an idea that you would like in the software. Obviously, if there's no idea that's similar to what you want, you can add and post your idea, and other users can vote for your feature, and then basically that progresses, and eventually it'll get built into the software in future releases. All right, so I just wanted to highlight that as well with regards to the future releases. Also, perhaps I can highlight our blogs that we have on our website, mgfx.co.za. There's hordes of blogs with regards to these little features, new features, um, tips and tricks on Revit, especially other software as well, Infraworks and Civil 3D, Dynamo as well. So you're welcome to go to our blog site, read through some of the tips and that sort of thing. All right. So basically, that was just a brief overview of the new features. Obviously, with the time that we have, I couldn't go into each and every one with it like a demo. I could have perhaps highlighted one or two, but perhaps that could be another webinar in future. All right. So thank you for attending. If there is any questions, you're welcome to ask. I've got Revit open, so we've got a couple of minutes, so we can go through one or two of those if needed. All right. So you're welcome to ask a couple of questions. Right, I am planning to on our blogs is to go through each of these features and just do a little video on each that's kind of recorded, and you can watch it and that sort of thing. So that'll come out. The first couple will come out within the week.
Thank you, Charles. No questions on my side.
All right, thank you.
All good, Charles.
Right, so okay, guys, thank you for attending. I'm gonna conclude that then. And yeah, have a good day. Hope everybody stays safe. And yeah, we'll market another couple of webinars. I think there is one coming tomorrow as well, and then I think yeah, I think there's two tomorrow. But yeah, thanks for attending. I'll see you soon. So bye.
Thank you. Bye.